All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Yet again, let me apologize for the massive echo in this room. I'm currently on vacation, but I still had a bunch of stories that I wanted to deliver for you. There also might be some background noise as the walls are paper thin and some people are talking in the background. But nonetheless, a lot of stuff to get to. So in just a second, I'm going to give you a little trip inside Trump's new concentration camp called Alligator Alcatraz. I always want to say Alcaraz because he's the tennis player, but Alligator Alcatraz. Got some horrific pictures and video coming out of there, so I'll show that to you. We also have the MAGA sellout Lisa Murkowski has a mental breakdown on camera after screwing Americans over, plain and simple. So, of course, the big, beautiful bill has passed the Senate. It's going to go to the House now, and this thing is an absolute catastrophe once you get into the specific provisions. So we'll talk about that. We also have Elon Musk and Trump are fighting again. Elon is threatening a nuclear takedown of Trump, and I have to admit, I got my popcorn, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And then we'll get to Trump is now openly saying that U.S. citizens are next. He's going to try to deport U.S. citizens. We already know that ICE deported in Trump's first term 70 U.S. citizens. We don't have numbers for the second term yet, but my guess is we're already in the hundreds for the second term, but it looks like they're actually going to put a focus on that. In fact, the Department of Justice was instructed to try to denaturalize a bunch of citizens in this country, and Lord knows where they'll end up. Will they end up in the concentration camp in El Salvador, CCOT? Will they end up in Alligator Alcatraz? Will they be sent to Guantanamo Bay? As we know, they're trying to send thousands of people to Guantanamo Bay, so we'll get into that. We also have Trump threatening to deport Zoran in an absolutely unhinged racist meltdown. We have Kristi Noem saying that ICE is now arresting cannibal immigrants who are eating themselves on deportation flights. I mean, I say this stuff, it sounds like I'm making it up, but no, this is actually what she said. And then later on, CBS has thoroughly destroyed their credibility, honestly, from now until the end of time, because they just agreed to pay Trump what is effectively a $16 million bribe. And I'll tell you the reason why they're doing that. So everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. And of course, much love to all you who support the show on Patreon. This show could not be done without you in any way, shape, or form. This is real grassroots media. Very proud of what we built here. Never had a conversation with an advertiser, never done an ad read. I'm one of very few people in this space that can say that. You guys make it possible. So thanks again for supporting the show. And if you'd like to do that, the link is below. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press spokesperson, also known as Fascist Barbie, she was very excitedly telling everybody about Alligator Alcatraz, the new concentration camp that they're building in the Everglades in Florida. So let's listen to what she has to say here, and then we're going to get to some actual pictures and videos from that concentration camp. And let me warn you in advance, it's dark, bro. It's dark. Here we go.
President Trump will travel to the great state of Florida to attend the opening of a new illegal alien detention center located at Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport alongside Secretary Kristi Noem, Governor Ron DeSantis, Congressman Byron Donalds, and other state and local leaders. We hope to see many of you there. The facility is in the heart of the Everglades and will be informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. There is only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight. It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain. The facility will have up to 5,000 beds to house, process, and deport criminal illegal aliens. This is an efficient and low-cost way to help carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
The idea here is, well, we'll put them all in the middle of a swamp, and then if they try to escape, don't worry, snakes are going to kill them, alligators are going to kill them. There's basically no way out of the place. Also, notice how she plays with language there. She calls all the people that will be sent there criminal, illegal aliens. But understand, we have the numbers, and we know that 92% of the immigrants who are being arrested and deported by ICE are not violent criminals. The majority of them have no criminal record whatsoever. So this is all, I mean, again, call it what it is, and it's a shame if the media doesn't catch up to this, because it's true, but this is a concentration camp. That's what it is. So now, let's go to, here we have a local CBS News Report from Florida. Let's hear what they have to say.
Also happening today, the so-called Alligator Alcatraz is expected to open. And as you can see, it's in the middle of the Everglades at a rarely used airport. President Donald Trump is scheduled to tour the facility later this morning. Action News Jax state and local government reporter Jake Stofan is there in the Everglades with more before the president's arrival.
Well, we're here just outside of the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport, or as it's better known these days, the so-called Alligator Alcatraz, which is set to open later this morning. President Donald Trump, Governor Ron DeSantis, Commissioner of Agriculture Wilton Simpson, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, as well as gubernatorial candidate Byron Donalds are all expected to be here in attendance for the grand opening. This is a facility that will essentially act as a one-stop shop for deportations, not only acting as a detention facility, but also a processing facility. And with the airstrip here, it can also be used to carry out flights to deport immigrants to other countries. Now, why are we interested in this up in Northeast Florida? Well, last week, Governor Ron DeSantis announced there is a similar plan to build a facility just like this one in Camp Blanding over in Clay County.
So understand, this is one of many. Their goal is to create dozens, potentially hundreds of these sorts of concentration camps all around the country. That's the idea.
Be sort of our first insight into what something like this looks like and what we might expect in our area. There's also some rumors we're trying to work out whether a Jacksonville-based company may be involved in the construction of this facility. Those are questions we're going to pose to the governor and President Trump if given the opportunity later today. That roundtable is set to begin around 11 a.m. We'll be here throughout the day providing you updates on air and online as things play out throughout the day.
All right, so now let me take you inside. This is what it looks like. I mean, I don't even need to say it, right? The historical parallels are beyond obvious. So as I said, 92% of those being arrested by ICE, deported by ICE, have no violent criminal record. The majority have no criminal record whatsoever. Never mind, violent. And this looks like what it is, right? Like this looks like exactly what it is. Now, by the way, we're already getting video coming out of Alligator Alcatraz of flooding already happening. Look. So look, it's just a big tent. Like all this is a big tent. It's a large tent in the middle of the Everglades. Now, you also might be thinking, well, hold on. Florida gets hurricanes all the time. That's correct. So you got a big tent in the middle of a swamp, in the middle of the Everglades, at the southern tip of Florida. It won't even require a hurricane to come through to just totally destroy this thing, right? I mean, this thing, it could just be a tropical storm comes through, or a very strong thunderstorm comes through, and the thing is utterly destroyed. So understand something. We've already had, dozens of immigrants die in ICE detention, including a Canadian. That just happened recently, a 75-year-old Cuban. That just happened recently. We covered that on the show. Make no mistake about it. People will die from the heat here. They will die from the conditions here. This thing will not stand long since it's just a tent in the middle of South Florida, in the middle of the swamp. And what happens in a scenario where that comes through and you're housing hundreds or thousands of immigrants in this? But that's the thing, guys. This is what you need to understand. They don't care. They simply don't care. The whole purpose of this, the point of this is the cruelty. The point of this is the sadism. They want you to think of these immigrants as they're not human. They're not human. They don't deserve dignity. They don't deserve respect. They certainly don't deserve rights. And so that's how you get a scenario where you're building these across the country. And as I said, 92% of these people who are being arrested by ICE have no criminal record whatsoever. They're not violent criminals, period. So, you go talk to a lot of Trump voters, and many of them will tell you that they thought, they're only going to go after, the bad guys, the actual criminals. Well, in order to do mass deportations, you're going to have to go after more than criminals, because we crunched the numbers on it. There's only about 10,000 criminal immigrants in the entire country. And they're talking mass deportations. They want to kick like millions of people out of the country. Well, by definition, you're going to be kicking a lot of innocent people out of the country who never committed a crime and are good family people and they work hard, etc. So, but I'm still not done yet, because when Trump and DeSantis toured the facility, DeSantis said something here which is actually very chilling. Listen to what he says, and then I'll break down what it means for you.
up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of Justice for the approvals. I'm sure Pam will approve. But then I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in like a day or two. So they're not going to be detained, hopefully, for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now, that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way founders intended. But you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
So understand what he said there. They're going to deputize National Guardsmen to be immigration judges. Now, what does that mean? It means that somebody with zero legal experience, zero expertise when it comes to immigration matters, for them to be deputized as a judge means effectively what they're doing is creating a rubber stamp system. So whoever they arrest, undocumented immigrant, documented immigrant, legal American citizen, whoever they arrest, they go in front of what is effectively a fake judge. And the judge says, yeah, go ahead, deport him immediately. We've already had horror stories of American citizens getting deported, including a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old. The 4-year-old had cancer. They deported a 4-year-old American citizen with no medicine whatsoever. And now it's a rubber stamp system. By the way, this is actually a step above and perhaps even more sinister than what they were doing, which is just completely flouting the whole idea of due process, period. Right? Sorry, no hearing, no due process. You don't get in front of a judge. We're going to ship you out of the country before anybody can see you, before you can talk to a lawyer, before you can talk to your family. That's how they got those 288 people sent to the concentration camp in El Salvador called CCOT. That's how they did it. And now they're saying, oh, wait, we could be a little more sophisticated here. We could just set up a show trial. We could deputize a non-immigration judge to be an immigration judge, and their marching orders from the top down are say, just deport everybody. And so this is how you have a system that is completely and utterly unaccountable. There is no process. There is no fairness. There is no attempt to get it right by the law. The whole point is just ship out whoever the hell these people want to ship out. And we'll cover this later, but if you think U.S. citizens are not guaranteed on the list, you are wrong. Because they are. In fact, Trump is just openly saying that at this point. So call it what it is. I mean, there's no other word for this but fascism. That's what it is. Definitionally so. When you destroy the Constitution, you destroy due process, you destroy people's right to a trial, you destroy habeas corpus, you set up basically a fast lane to kick out of the country whoever they want to kick out of the country, and they don't even need to present any evidence, it doesn't need to be a criminal, etc. Well, this is where we are. And so now, what we should do is, instead of everybody calling this Alligator Alcatraz, it should be called what it is. Alligator Auschwitz. Because they don't care what happens to these people, not in the slightest. Again, the whole point is the cruelty, is the sadism. They relish in how evil this is. They think the more evil they are, the more they look like hardcore badasses who take no shit. But in reality, they're the baddies. I mean, it really is simple. It's pretty straightforward, especially when you read the horror stories of the people who've already been hurt by this system. I mean, we've talked whether it's Kilmar Abrego Garcia or whether it's the person who was deported to CCOT because they had a mom and dad tattoo and the government claimed those are gang tattoos. The guy who had a tattoo for his 15-year-old autistic brother who he was, he helped raise and take care of. They said, that's a gang tattoo. We're going to send you out with no trial. Right? And those are only just some of the horror stories. We don't even know all the horror stories. They're endless. I mean, they've arrested U.S. Marshals because the U.S. Marshal was brown. And so they said, we think they're an illegal immigrant. Right? I mean, they've arrested U.S. veterans. I mean, the list of horrors is absolutely endless. So Alligator Alcatraz, man, up and running. And they are relishing in how evil it is. And again, we'll do a story on this either later today or tomorrow. But you would think that hearing just this story here would wake a bunch of people up to go, well, this is hard. I don't support this. But we actually have the numbers in, and Trump's base actually loves him more than any political base has ever loved their leader ever. Even more now, Trump's base loves him more now than they did in the first term. So the worse he is, the more they adore him. And that says something pretty dark that I don't think we fully grappled with yet. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.